no Jedi.
Your powers are weak, old man.
Always remember, your focus determines your reality.
Hello there.
General Kenobi! You don't know the power of the dark side.
What's up, Disciples of the Force podcast? If this is your first time watching our podcast or you're returning to our podcast, this is not usually how we record it. It's always done in person, but we ran into a lot of technical difficulties, which caused us to go remote. So the vibes are a little off. So just bear with us as you're going through it. But enjoy the show. And welcome back to Disciples of the Force. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Go ahead. No, it's your
Is that a bit? I said I was going to start. That's a good bit. That's a really good bit. Welcome back to Disciples of the Force podcast. Today we have a special guest. Our guest is someone who embodies the spirit of versatility and determination, from the stage to the green, from leadership roles to entrepreneurial endeavors. They're not just a double threat. They're a multi-dimensional force to be reckoned with. Having lettered in musical theater and golf, they've demonstrated excellence in both the arts and athletics. But their achievements don't stop there. They've been a trailblazer in student leadership, serving the student body office since the 8th grade. Their dedication to service and their peers is truly inspiring. Beyond their academic pursuits, our guest is a talented musician, proficient in playing both the ukulele and the piano. Their creativity knows no bounds, extending from the stage to the strings. And let's talk about ambition. Since 2020, they've been navigating the halls of higher education, already completing 2 semesters with flying colors. But wait, there's more. Brace yourselves, because they're about to embark on a new adventure, soon to be the founder of their own company. Ladies and gentlemen, Forrest Inskeep.
I'm speechless. I'm honestly speechless. I don't know whether to be offended or extremely grateful. That's incredible.
Be extremely grateful, for sure.
Yeah, grateful. Grateful is the right one. We tried to record last week, and we had so many technical difficulties, I almost honestly offed myself. So
Jeez.
I'm glad we're here today. Anyway, real quick. So Star Wars, I just want to talk about the Acolyte rider situation. What are your thoughts, Austin, that one of them has never seen Star Wars? What do you think about that?
I think at first glance, it's shocking. You're like, what the heck is going on? Yeah. But I think it's a very good thing, because for years, you and I and Forrest have been complaining about like nostalgia baiting in Star Wars, that they don't want to create new stuff. They just want to go back to what we've had. So I think that's an awesome direction. And they clarified and said that person did like watch Star Wars while they worked on the set of the show. But I think regardless, that fresh perspective is only a good thing, because obviously if they're talking about that one writer, every other writer in that writer's room has seen Star Wars. So it's just like a new viewpoint, which is desperately needed in Star Wars. So I think it's great.
I agree 100%. I think it'll be a breath of fresh air.
Breath air. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good for him. I'm excited for the Acolyte. We watched it. We already gave our reaction. I'm pretty pumped. Just totally breaking away from the Skywalker saga. We've talked about it for months now.
Well.
So, what are your thoughts?
Pretty cool. Chewbacca's a Jedi now.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Right. That's huge news.
Pretty big for him. So I'm really excited to see what he
brings to the table. So if you don't know, Forrest is a comedian. He that's his job. He goes around doing comedy, doing good bits.
This is terrible.
Come on. Anyway, but in all seriousness, Forrest actually is our Dune expert. That's why I brought him on here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Dune and Star Wars. We've been seeing it all over the TikToks, Instagram. Forrest, I would love to hear your thoughts of Dune, first off and foremost, and similarities and maybe even some differences if you saw them. Let's hear what you got, Bubba.
Well, heck. Thanks for having me on, fellas. It's a pleasure. I do think it's interesting it took you guys 49 episodes to have Forrest on Disciples of Forrest. So pretty interesting. But you know what? Better late than never. Yeah,
I disagree. I think we should never have had you.
That's great. I loved Dune. I thought it was awesome. I didn't watch the first one when it first came out, and then getting ready for the second one, I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and I'll watch them. And I wasn't impressed with the first one. It was whatever. It was good, but nothing crazy. And then the second one blew my mind, and my eyes were open to a ton of stuff. And I went and rewatched the first and second one again, and right now I'm almost done with the book, so I'm in the middle of reading that right now. So thanks for calling me.
Oh, nice, dude. How are you liking the
that
book?
That sure means a lot. The book is great. What's fun about reading it, obviously, is they can't do a very good one-to-one transfer between the sources. So the book, obviously, they can't adapt it as well to the movie in just 2.5 hours. So obviously there's problems with that, but what's fun about reading it is you get to see their thoughts. The author, he talks a lot about what Paul is thinking and what Jessica's thinking and the Duke Leto is thinking. So really cool to see their motives for what they do. Whereas in the movie, you don't really get to see that as much because obviously there's no narration. It's just based off of their acting. So very, very cool. I'm loving it. I don't love it more than Star Wars. Big Star Wars fan, but I've loved seeing the differences and similarities. So
I think you make a very bold statement to say you don't like it more than Star Wars, because it sounds like from what you've been talking about that you love it way more, dude.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Well, to be clear, I like the movies. I like the Dune movies. What am I trying to say? I like the Star Wars universe more than I like the Dune universe. The Dune universe, if you will.
Oh, did you just come up with that?
I did. Off the dome.
That's pretty good.
But I do think that that Dune 2 is a better movie than most Star Wars movies. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I agree, because, I mean, first off, it's kind of hard to compare them considering, the original trilogy came out years ago, right? I think if the original trilogy came out now, I think it'd be on par. But, I mean, you can't really, because, I mean, Dune from, films, from looking at it, it's amazing. From start to finish, the shots, the acting, the cast is just wow. I love Dune. Dune 2. I didn't like the first movie the first time I watched it, like you were saying. I went to rewatch it, and I was like, oh, this is pretty heat. It's pretty fire. But I know my buddy Austin has a lot to say. He's got a whole podcast dedicated to the movie, so I'll turn my time over to him if you'd like.
I've been trying to get Spencer to switch over sorry, blur that out if you need to, bleep it out. This crappy Star Wars podcast into a Dune podcast. I'll just show you some of my memorabilia here. The Royal Atreides Ornithopter. Look how big this is.
So sick.
Gonna build that after I graduate this semester.
For our listeners here, he's showing the Lego Dune Ornithopter set. Pretty impressive.
Yep, it's amazing. $164 MSRP. This right here is some authentic, I don't know if you can tell there. I'm keeping it in its protective sleeve. It's some authentic 70 millimeter IMAX film with four frames from the movie, as well as my paper ticket to the 70 millimeter IMAX showing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Dune 2 or Dune 1?
That's Dune 2. That's Dune 2.
Incredible.
Forrest and I have bonded over our love for Dune and our hatred for Spencer. And it's been really nice.
Oh, that's great.
I've really enjoyed the book, or I enjoyed the book as well. I just finished Messiah today. I'm going to reread Dune later. I think I might finish all the Dune books because the rest aren't very long. But to your point about the thoughts in their heads, I just wanted to note this. You should watch the 1984 version because David Lynch, the director, attempts that, and it's very corny on film. But it's great. You should watch it.
Okay, I'll definitely add that to the list.
But yeah, Dune's killing it, man. I think to your question, Spencer, I think this is better than any Star Wars film, and I think as a film. But to Forrest's point, I think I like the universe of Star Wars a lot more. It's just been a lot more fleshed out. We haven't had the chance to see all of the Dune universe yet, so that's where I stand as well.
Sorry, they're calling it the Duneverse. I don't know if you heard.
Oh, I've heard that. I've heard that before once or twice. Probably just once, but Duneverse, yes. Right.
The Duneverse. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, which...
go ahead, Spencer.
No, dude, it's fine. You can cut me off. You're the guest. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. What I was going to say was, have you guys been seeing the TikToks of people saying how Dune is a ripoff of Star Wars? Like people not understanding that Dune came first. That is so fun and interesting to me because you have all these people saying Anakin did it first, and you're like, okay. I mean, technically, whatever, right? I think it's so funny to see that just because it's just uneducated Star Wars fans. Like it's just I don't know. They're so diehard and they can't accept that there's another universe out there that's similar to and probably inspired very heavily Star Wars. You know what I mean? I think that's so freaking funny.
Yeah, people always talk about how Dune 1 inspired, the first book inspired Star Wars. But I think George Lucas went back and double dipped, because I finished Dune Messiah today. And spoiler, that book came out in 1969, but it ends with Paul, or Anakin, his wife, Padme, or Chani, dying in childbirth as she gives birth to two twins, a boy and a girl. It's like... he ripped it right off, you know?
Yeah,
so
that's
just kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
But yeah, sorry, I hate this remote. There's like a little bit of lag, and I'm so sorry. This fall, though, I do want to note, this fall there's an HBO series coming out that is set in the Duneverse. Credit to Forrest for that term there. So we should cover that on this show. If nothing else, Star Wars is coming out.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty excited about that. Did you guys ever watch Chernobyl, the miniseries Chernobyl?
No, I need to.
No.
I've heard it's amazing, but the guy who directs that is directing the Dune series, or at least a couple episodes of it, so it'll be exciting.
That'd be sweet. And, this is what I want to say to all that. Yeah, absolutely, George, our boy George, ripped it off. But you know what? He did it. He did it in a way that people never knew for a long time, or I guess they knew a little bit after. But I think as Star Wars fans, you can just love both. You can love Dune and Star Wars. I don't think there has to be like a stance on like, oh, I can only like Dune or you can only like Star Wars. Like, they're both amazing and phenomenal, them all, because I like sci-fi. So I'm gonna, I might even start watching Star Trek. That's next on my list. Actually, fun fact for everyone who's listening.
For real.
Have you ever seen those?
No, I've never even seen a single movie.
Dude, it's way better than Star Wars.
Oh,
okay. Okay.
Which one are you going to start with? Are you going to start with the original Star Trek?
Part of me thinks I have to just so I can get it out of the way, because I think if I go back and try to watch, like if I watch the newer stuff and then go to the old stuff, it'd be real hard. Yeah. So I'll probably want to start from there. But anyway, the parallels in Dune and Star Wars, they exist. They're there. You can't shake it. But the biggest difference to me is the sexy lightsabers in Star Wars. All right?
It's true.
And
they have lightsabers in Dune, too.
Are you actually?
No, I'm kidding.
I was like,
I didn't see that.
You guys didn't see that in the movie, would we?
No,
What
dude.
I didn't do? Freaking heck.
Freaking heck.
Freaking heck, you're going to make me you over here or something when you talk like that. I had a couple thoughts, a couple things that I saw that I thought would be interesting to talk about how they're super similar to Star Wars. Because I don't know if you guys had a list or anything.
Yeah, we can. I guess you could just hijack our whole podcast. Go ahead.
Hijack our
Perfect,
show, you're the
okay.
guest. It's whatever.
Perfect. Okay, well, in my mind, the Bene Gesserit and the Jedi Council are very similar. They're both this cult, this religion that is influencing the politics of the universe and how things are going on. And the Bene Gesserit did not want Paul to be trained in the way. They didn't want Paul to become what he was, which is very similar to Anakin. Not when the Jedi Council said that they didn't want Anakin to be trained, but they told Qui-Gon no. So that to me is pretty similar. Do you have anything to add to that?
It is. It is. Both for the chosen one.
Good addition.
Thank you.
Just a quick one. The mother always knew he was special, like from the beginning of Paul. She knew Jessica was like, he's going to be it. And Shmi always knew that. Is it Shmi or Smee?
Shmi.
Shmi. She always knew that Anakin was special. I mean, obviously the whole immaculate conception thing's pretty crazy, but other than that, she could tell that he was pretty special. Did you guys have anything?
I was just going to say, she Shmi on my Skywalker until I... That's what I was going to say.
That's pretty good.
Thanks. Just came up with it just now.
Oh, the dome.
Well, that's
Yeah, go
getting cut. Now keep going for it. You're the Dune expert. What else you got?
I mean, sand people wearing hoods that are considered savages. Does that sound like anybody we know?
Yeah, the good old, but careful there. Careful, Forrest. Forrest, careful.
Oh
Careful there, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
This is a liberal
That's
podcast,
the
man.
Raiders.
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's who I meant. That is
Yo, my. I'm keeping that in. I'm going to expose you. You're not getting a job, dude.
I'm not built,
Let's just
I'm not
scrap
built
the
for a
pod.
digital footprint.
Oh, my goodness. Oh,
Anyways,
okay. Well,
that's
Forrest,
the
we're going to mute
Raiders.
your mic for a bit.
Please, seriously, that's brutal, dude.
I thought he was doing that intentionally. I thought that's what you were going
I actually muted his mic.
for. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Holy cow.
You're back, Forrest. You're done being in timeout.
Man, that's pretty much my thoughts on that. I mean, I really do think that Guys, I was doing a bit. Come on.
Sure.
I was doing a bit
Yeah,
that I
that's
was
a bit.
talking the whole time. That's too bad. Can't wait.
This is
I'm not built
so
for this,
bad.
guys. Is
I wrote to
around
say your
person? Is that what it is? Because
It's a lot harder on remote. Yeah, because we're
Yeah,
all
it's-
talkative people, so it's hard to jump in.
Hmm.
But you're also not built for the podcast, so that's
Apparently
another
not,
thing.
dude.
But to go off your
Definitely
point there, talking about the Tusken Raiders, yeah, he definitely ripped that off. But of course, they're not an integral part of the story as the Fremen are in Dune, right? I mean,
Right. Well, I mean, they
But-
played a huge role when Anakin kills them. You know, like that's his mark.
Well,
his
that's a
turn
good
to the
point.
Dark side. So
We
they
don't
are
really
integral,
get into-
but not in the same way at all.
right? Yeah, not to like their how they are, like while they live and everything, and their culture, as the Fremen are.
Well, until the Mandalorian, when the Mandalorian knows all about their culture, and we learn more about it and humanize them in the Book of Boba
Damn,
Fett.
this
too.
guy's a good Star Wars dude. You're right. I actually totally forgot about that.
Are you playing with Legos right now?
I'm just fidgeting with it, fingering with it.
All right.
Here's a
Go
couple
ahead,
more
Austin.
similarities while we're on it. The main protagonist is named after a gospel writer, one of the apostles. We have Paul and Luke. Grows up on a desert planet. The story originates on a desert planet. Let's see. Has an old, wise fighting mentor in Obi-Wan Kenobi and Gurney Halleck. What else? A lot of great similarities. I mean, you can look it up, but those are just a couple more that I wanted to mention.
Yeah,
The last
I think-
one that,
yeah.
oh, go ahead. Sorry, Spencer.
No, you're good for it. Go ahead. You're our guest. They're tired of my voice. They hear my
He's
voice every
nervous.
week. Let's hear yours.
When the worm eats up the starter car in the very first one, and the Fremen Doctor, it looks just like the Sarlacc pit.
Yes. Yep.
Like, because you don't really see the worm yet. You don't see Shai Hulud yet. You see just them fall right into it, and it's
Yeah.
the same thing. It's the exact same thing. The only thing is Sarlacc pit's not going anywhere. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, but I think you could argue that shot and kind of look is ripped off. Because in the book, does it talk that it was just like that, or is that just the way they chose to go about it with the film?
No, that's just the way they chose to go about it with the film. And Denis Villeneuve is very honest about his inspirations, and he enjoys Star Wars. He has always been very honest about that. So I think there's a key to that. But yeah, like Forrest said, when we see the sandworm eat Liet Kynes, is her name, the Fremen scientist, the judge of the change. In the book, she's actually Chani's father, because she's a man in the book.
Oh wow!
I thought it was just a
But-
progressive book.
Oh no. I mean, it is actually. Sorry, but anyway, that design has been changed by Denis and his production team to be more of like, they describe the worms as filter feeders. That's why they have like bristles, and they feed through the sand that way. But in the book, I don't remember any reference to that. Forrest, you've been reading it more recently than I have, but I don't know.
I haven't got to the worms yet.
Oh. So yeah, I think that's a movie production design choice.
Yeah, well, needless to say, there's a lot of similarities, you know. And
Yeah.
Georgie didn't get sued because the author said he wasn't going to do it. Which honestly, kudos to the Dune. What's his name? The author.
Frank Herbert.
Because I think I'd get my bag. I think I would definitely go for it, suing someone
you
if there was
should've.
that many similarities.
Hey, I've got the one difference. Paul likes sand and Anakin doesn't. So
Oh shoot!
That's it. That's a really good
So
point.
I think
That's
that
a really good
his
point,
case
actually.
would have stood up in court.
That's true. He would have said that one part, and then like, you're good. This is a totally different movie.
George would have been, what do we all know? Anakin doesn't even freaking like sand.
That's really good, Forrest.
Saying how it is. It's just me and
You
being
are.
real.
Yeah, and I think the only other difference is the lightsabers, like we mentioned. That's the other difference. But in Star Wars, that's honestly, I'd say the core, not the core, but a lot of what it all goes back to. Anything else on Dune? I got some Star Wars questions we can get into for everyone, or whatever.
Let's hear it.
All right. I asked this to Austin the other day. So if you've been on our TikTok, you see we do some what ifs. We've been posting those. A what if we thought about though is, what if Padme rejected Anakin? Because to me, there's two routes it could go. Austin and I kind of talked about this. Either Anakin, from the rejection, might go crazy and go to the dark side, or it might be a way for him to. He never has that. He has the attachment, but he's able to kind of recover from it, kind of how Obi-Wan recovered from Satine and all that. So what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think would happen if Padme rejected Anakin? What would be his path?
Where's she rejecting Anakin? Are you saying like at the beginning of episode
I'm saying
2?
Clone Attack of the Clones. Yep, episode 2.
I don't think he's going to the dark side. I don't think he's got enough. I think that was the turning point, was him losing Padme, because he'd lost his mom and that was really tough. But like, I think the thought of losing Padme was just too much for poor little Annie.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I mean, the whole catalyst, the whole arc of episode 3 is that he's afraid that he's going to lose Padme, and that's like the main thing that drives him to the dark side. So I think if that pressure wasn't there at all, he'd be fine. I mean, sure, he'd still be like, he's still an emotional person, and so I think that rejection would really hurt, and it might lead to like some reckless behavior. But at that time, he like shortly after receives Ahsoka as a Padawan, and he's still got Obi-Wan, and he's like very fulfilled in that work during the Clone Wars. So I think there'd be no issue there. I think he'd stay in the lights, maybe.
Episode 3 would have been way more boring, though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right, you wouldn't have that. Right,
Even
and I'll
episode
play
2,
devil's.
man. Like, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, let's hear it.
I was just gonna say, if she rejected him, she wouldn't end up on Geonosis with him, and we wouldn't have gotten that cool midriff shot that we get at the Battle of Geonosis. So
We'd
that
never
movie
fall in
would've
love with
sucked. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll play devil's advocate. I'll say he would go to the dark side because he's so mad at the fact that he lost his mom. She rejects him. I think he's still killing the sand people. I think that still happens regardless, which I think is a pretty big turn towards the dark side. I mean, to just murder innocent women and children. So I think, honestly, that happening, gets angry, doesn't want to listen to Obi-Wan, he's trying to comfort him. And maybe he starts, I don't know, somehow befriends Dooku on a mission. I don't know, not a mission, but like he's like fighting against him, and then he pulls Anakin to his side. I don't know, could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. There's definitely a few like episodes in the Clone Wars that you see Anakin, like they play his, play like Darth Vader's. What's that called? His sound. His theme.
Yeah, Imperial March,
Darth Vader's theme,
whatever.
And he's like choking out someone. But he's like a Jedi. Like he still hasn't turned, but you can see his tendencies, and that's way before he even lost Padme. So I think I think you could be
That's
right.
a good
That
point.
he probably could have left because he had so many little things, and just because it wasn't Padme that, like in this hypothetical, just because Padme's not there, you're absolutely right. He's emotional. He could totally like turn because of anything. So
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually, because I totally forgot. Yeah, we don't have episode 3's when he gets scared. So yeah, in the Clone Wars when that's happening, that Imperial theme or whatever. Yeah, we're seeing glimpses of it. So I think that's a really good point for you.
he would have just turned into a gray Jedi. Is what he would have turned into, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, the gray Jedi that are real and everyone loves to talk.
You better say Jedi
good
because
news.
people are gonna light you up.
Let's see here. Whoa, what's going on here? Shut up, Forrest. So we do have a question from a listener. This comes from Jason from Salt Lake City, actually. So near our home, near here. They just asked, "What is Legends, and should I care about it?"
It's a great question. I would say, well, Legends is everything that was written and recorded before the 2012 acquisition of Star Wars by Disney. When Disney acquired Star Wars, they put everything into a Legends category. It used to be considered the expanded universe, the Star Wars expanded universe. So that included like all of the Marvel comics that were based in the Star Wars universe. That included all of the literature, included a lot of, or some TV shows and things like that. But it was mostly books and comics and even video games that were in that expanded universe. Disney bought it, said, we want to start anew with our own canon. So they made all of the movies canon. So everything up until that point, which was the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. And then also the Clone Wars. And I think that was the only TV show that was considered canon. Correct me if I'm wrong. So then you had two categories of Legends and canon. And yeah, Legends is all of that stuff. I don't care about it that much because it's not in the canon, but a lot of people base their love of Star Wars in the Legends material in the expanded universe. I just never got into it because I was too young. I mean, there were certain things that I got into, of Legends material before Disney bought Star Wars, but yeah, I don't really care about it that much. So
I think, and to go along with that, I think the other thing you get is some characters are a lot more powerful. For example, like Luke Skywalker would be considered the most powerful Jedi ever, Legends wise.
yeah.
I mean, the nice part about the Disney acquisition is that, you know, kind of we have everything that's coming out now is canon, and we know that, you know, because if you go into Legends, I mean, there's a lot of material. You got years and, you know, just almost decades probably? Because when does that? Of just Star Wars material, which would take you a long time to get through.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, yeah. If we were diehard Star Wars fans, which we are, but we're not that much, we'd read all those as well. But I don't know. I'm sticking to canon because there's really nothing with Legends. You can't. Doesn't do anything for the story now.
Well, and the thing is, certain creators within Star Wars are adapting Legends stories, like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are taking Legends material and reworking it into canon. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Forrest, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. Where do you see this? Where can you access the Star Wars Legends stuff? Is it just like, I guess like?
Yeah, it's just out there. I mean, it's still, you can go to Barnes and Noble and pick up all the Legends books.
Oh, okay.
Comics would be harder to come by, but yeah, it's just out there.
Yeah,
gotcha.
You could probably get the comics off a
Disney
site
Plus where it's like, this is all canon stuff, and then this is non-canon.
There are certain Legends things. There are certain Legends things on Disney Plus, like the 2D animated Clone Wars. That's a Legends show, and that's on Disney Plus. So
what do you think the holiday special goes under? Do you think holiday specials Legends are canon?
Yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing with George Lucas is he had no control over all of the expanded universe stuff, and he had like no interest in canonizing any of it. Like to him, it was the movies that were the real stories, and he didn't care about everything else. So like a lot of the wealth of the Star Wars universe that we have wasn't created by George Lucas, and he doesn't even really support it, to my knowledge. So that's kind of interesting. And the fact that he like wants to destroy every copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special makes me think that that he probably wouldn't support that very much in either category.
That was a good pause. That would be awesome to listen to. I thought Forrest was going to say something. Sorry. No, I totally agree.
My fat mouth. I'm just always blabbing.
Oh,
yeah, don't say fat. Don't ever say that again.
Your unemployed mouth. Did we ever apologize to the fans for?
Oh cow!
Did we apologize to the fans for the delay? Did we talk about why there's a delay? We're recording.
No, I said I was gonna do
that.
something inappropriate. No, I didn't tell the specifics. If you want to tell the specifics, please be my guest.
We usually don't record remotely. Our studio has really bad Wi-Fi. We're working on it, and so we didn't feel comfortable remoting Forrest in because he lives 4 hours away from us. So we're all remote. So that's why the vibes are a little off, because there's a slight delay for everything that we're saying. So yeah, there you go. Now you know.
Yeah. And
Probably
here's the thing.
I don't. If you're 30 minutes into this podcast, but
it was. I don't know how we did this before, because this is hard. This sucks.
Yeah.
But if it's to have Forrest on the podcast, then it's worth it.
It's worth it to me. It's worth it to me.
Worth it.
Me and my unemployed mouth.
Yeah, I think he's hurt.
Hey, Forrest, I did some networking for you this weekend. I'll tell you off camera, but I did some networking. So shut up.
Oh man. All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Bad Batch? I don't have too much for it.
Neither do I.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I think we might get Boba Fett, dude. I don't know. I'm feeling it. With Finnick, Shand coming up, and the bounty hunters that are looking, I feel like Boba Fett might pop his cute little head back up.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. I assumed she was talking to Asajj Ventress at the end there, but I did see some theories that it could be Boba Fett. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I agree. I think it's Asajj because they teased her in the trailer, but maybe that's what they want us to think. But I think it's probably more likely it's her.
Listen, it would be really cool because the only two unmodified clones of Jango Fett, or I don't know if Omega's unmodified. You might have to correct me on that. But
she just doesn't have
aging.
Yeah, advanced aging, yeah. I think that's all we know for sure.
The only two of Jango Fett that don't have advanced aging are Alpha, aka Boba Fett, and Omega.
The end.
If you're familiar with the Greek alphabet, Alpha is the beginning, Omega is the end. So there's that. So it would be cool to come around.
Alpha. Where's that?
Just within this show. I don't think they call him it anywhere else.
Oh. I mean,
it's been alluded to. Yeah. Well, maybe they don't even allude to it, but he is the first clone of Jango Fett. That's talked about in Attack of the Clones. So maybe that's a leap saying he's Alpha, but yeah.
Oh, he's Alpha.
So it would be cool if the end of Omega comes at the hands of Alpha. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I think it'd be a great ending. Because here's the thing too. I forgot that Boba wouldn't be that old. In my mind, I'm thinking he's the Boba Fett we've been seeing, but at this point, he wouldn't be that old yet. So he'd kind of be in his 20s. What do you think he'd be in?
Maybe even younger. He might be under 20 at this time.
Do we see him in Rebels?
Again, we don't know. I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't think we do.
I don't remember seeing him in Rebels.
Yeah, never.
Anyway,
I've got a question for you about Omega. How old is she?
We don't know. I don't think, because there have been time jumps throughout these 3 seasons of The Bad Batch. So I don't know if we even knew how old she was when the Empire rose to power, but now we certainly don't know, because it's been like anywhere between 2 to 6 years since then, but we don't know for sure.
Okay, and then you might have to cut this, but
Let's cut that.
Your mom's gonna listen to this, right, Forrest? No, I think that's a good thing to keep in for here. I'm gonna keep it in, but I'm gonna bleep it. So she's gonna ask you what it was. Dude, Forrest, speaking of which, you gotta tell Austin what you said the other day, you sick man.
Dude, I told you.
That's off camera. We'll tell him after, because I can't keep that in here with what you said.
I haven't laughed so hard. So long.
Anyway. So let's do this, Aust. Forrest, did you watch the most recent episode?
I did not. I'm telling you, I'm not built for this, you guys. I thought I was. I'm not.
That's all right, Bubba. We can have you on with the Acolyte, because I think you'd be more excited to talk about that.
Maybe.
All right. Anyway, Austin, let's do this. You just tell me 3 of yours in a row, so we don't try to go back and forth of things from the episode, and then I'll go in after you.
That sounds good. Also, I was not saying maybe to having Forrest on again. I just was alluding to the fact that he's a racist sexist, so he probably won't very much.
Right. With what he said earlier, which, again, here at the Disciples of the Force, we do not condone that kind of behavior. That is totally uncool and not okay.
We don't.
Oh, you're talking about the racist thing about the sand people.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. I don't know what he's talking about. What are you talking about, Lost?
Let's not talk about it.
Racist or sexist?
No, you're not.
Oh, shit.
Mark that.
Dude, you're going to make my jump so much harder. I don't want to edit all this out.
I told you that.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
I'm so sorry. Mute me. Just go ahead and mute me.
Okay. First thing I have here. Crosshair asking who people are is kind of funny. Like every time a person's mentioned, he's like, who? I think that's funny. It also has 2 purposes. So first, it gives us a good recap. Like I can't remember which one it was, but they said a name, and I was like, who the F is that? Maybe it was Fee Genoa, and I didn't recognize her until her face came up. But it gives us a good recap of who these characters are, because we haven't seen them in over a year. And then it also shows how the Bad Batch has grown without him. Like all of the people that they've met and the adventures that they've gone on without him. And it reminded me that, like, man, he hasn't been there since like episode 2 with them. Like, that's how long he's been gone. So pretty crazy there. Second thing I have here, I don't know if I care about Fennec Shand. Big Star Wars is trying to get me to care about Fennec Shand, putting her in the Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett and this. And I'm like, I don't know if I really care. And here's the thing. Let me get her name right. I'm pretty sure I have it, but if I mess it up, then... Okay, yeah, Ming-Na Wen is the actress who portrays her in live action and does the voice. She voiced Mulan, so she's like the original Mulan. I don't know if you knew that.
That's
like
cool.
She's already playing a cool enough character, and I really appreciate her work. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I dislike the actress. I don't care. I don't know if I care about the character. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then I really only have 2 more. So I can just hit them all. And then if you want to comment on that. I have, Fennec Shand, again. So they walk up to her at the table, Hunter and Wrecker. She has all these details on him, which is great. She's a good bounty hunter. She knows stuff. Then later, she calls Wrecker what's his name or something. Like, she doesn't remember his name, but she remembers every other detail about his strength and his, whatever. Stupid. I thought that was just stupid from a storytelling standpoint. And then I just thought the alien that they find at the end, the praying mantis guy, was pretty cool. So those are my 4 things. Not great stuff, but...
No, it's good stuff. I do want to go off of what you're saying about Fennec Shand, because that's exactly what I wrote in mine. I was going to ask you, like, what are your thoughts? And you told me exactly. Because I was thinking the same thing, like, do we like? Why are we putting her in this? Like, it's is it because we're trying to just I don't know. It's big Star Wars pushing, like you're saying. Big Star Wars wants us to like Fennec Shand. No, so it is. I did find it interesting having her here. It did feel a little outplayed. I don't know. I feel like you could have done a new character, but then again, she did already show up in the beginning. But whatever. Yeah. I'll just run through mine real quick. The space station looked amazing. I was like, oh, that's super sick. The music in the bar was a bop. I was like, oh, this is heat.
Bop doesn't mean something good now. Have you seen that on TikTok?
What?
People call people bops,
me?
and it's an insult. I don't know that.
So
I don't get that. Sorry.
I didn't know that either. All right, so the music was good, I guess. I'm just an old man who doesn't know lingo. And then let's see here, the Rhodian, which, I mean, not much there, just cool seeing a Rhodian. And I love their eyes every time I see them. Just like this galaxy, like eye looking. Wrecker picking up the alligator reminded me of like a WWE move, the way he like threw him back.
Oh, that's right.
And then there was a line, I can't remember who said, I think I'm pretty sure it was Wrecker. They said, that's why I never go in the water. Someone said it. And it reminded me of the old Clone Wars, just kind of those little like things they'd throw in, quips during the show. I loved it. Oh, this line right here, money's not everything. And then she said, that's because you don't have any. I was like, damn, that's a bar. That was a sick line. Write that down for us. Write that down.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to be using that like crazy. It's been my new personality.
That was it. That's everything. That's all I had.
Okay. Cool.
So this was fun.
I've got a question for you guys about the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
What's up, for you?
Do you, how do you rate the 3 seasons that have been out so far? Like, what is the best, second, and then the worst?
That's good.
What happens in season 2? I can remember season 1, but I can't remember
question.
season 2.
It's an excellent
Because
question.
I'm thinking, I liked 1 a lot. I remember that because we got to see Order 66 from a new point of view in the beginning.
Super
we
cool.
see Caleb
That
Dune.
first episode's really good.
Yeah. So to me, season 1's pretty high. I don't know, but I don't remember what happened last season in The Bad Batch.
When did they destroy Camino?
That's at the end of the first season. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the first one's the best then. Like, that whole story of the beginning of Order 66 and then the end of Camino, it's so cool.
No,
I totally agree. I agree. The second one is good, though. I mean, sorry, go on.
No, I'm just trying to think, but we'd go ahead. Let's hear what you have for 2.
We have some stuff on Raxus. We're introduced to like Captain Hauser, who's a cool character that we see in last episode here in season 3. We also get to know Fijinoa, and Sid like betrays the Bad Batch. That's like a major arc in the second season. They also find their like home, their forever home on the island planet. So like a lot of cool stuff happens in season 2. It's just not as good or like intriguing as season 1.
I did like how they killed off Tech. I thought that was really touching and emotional. So that was good in that. Sid also I just Googled this, so sorry.
No, don't ever apologize. We Google all the time for you. We think we know everything.
I do.
Let me say that again. Austin knows everything. I don't.
No.
But I don't know if you guys remember, but where Sid betrays the Clone Force 99 to the Empire, that was pretty sad as well. I never really liked Sid. She always seemed kind of sketch to me.
She's kind of low-key hot, though.
From the she is bad. She's a bad thing.
Yeah, for real.
It's like off of Monsters, Inc. What's that lady's name?
Always watch.
Yeah. Slug lady.
So to answer your question, I think it goes to because season 3 isn't finished yet. But right now, I'm not full into it. So like right now, it's on the bottom. But actually, that's not true because the scenes with Palpatine were really sick. Because we're getting more into the Project Necromancer. That was really cool stuff to get into. But I think season 1's going to be on top for now. Also, going back to what you said about Tech, we didn't mention this last episode, but there are some theories going around that Tech may be the one of the Shadow Trooper, or the Shadow Trooper we've been seeing, which I'd really hate, because we talk about it, we want him to be dead, but they just keep bringing up Tech like in random parts that I'm like, is that because they miss him and they're reminiscing, or is it just like they're trying to let us know, hey, don't forget about this character, he's going to come back? That's what I don't know, because in the beginning of this episode they talked about it.
Something you guys talked about a couple episodes ago, I can't remember when, but everyone talks about how in episode 9, when Poe Dameron says somehow Palpatine returned, everyone hates that line. And when that was like one of my first Star Wars criticisms, where I was like, okay, yeah, that is pretty terrible writing. But you guys mentioned how yes, that's that wasn't great setup there, but like now they're going back and exploring how Palpatine returned, and that is super fun to see in this season because like you're saying with Palpatine, how you see him and how they're worried about the M count, which I don't know that they've said what M count stands for. If they did, I missed it. I'm assuming that's midichlorian count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's way fun to see, and it kind of makes you feel less upset and angry about that line in episode 9.
Right. Yeah. We got a comment on one of our TikToks that was like, it wasn't even that bad of a line. Like it's explained right after, and he's right, which I've never really thought about. But I think he says somehow Palpatine returned, and then another weird looking guy says like Sith magic, like whatever. Like that's
cloning, secrets only the Sith know.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. And it's like they're a bunch of resistance pilots. That's probably all they knew, and that's like explanation enough for them. You know, it's just us who care a lot about Star Wars, and like we want to know everything about Star Wars. That like that wasn't enough for us. So, but yeah, to your point, that's what this whole show is like building up to that, and same with the Mandalorian to a degree is supporting that. So
also, kind of the other side of the coin, you know. We put out I think it was a YouTube video short, and all these people were like, because we were saying, oh, it was good that they said this because this is building to that how that all happened, and they're all pissed like, no, they should have just had good writing from the beginning, that it was just lazy writing, and now they're just trying to clean up their tracks and they're just going off. So it's just the fandom is just so split on that, and I think it's dumb because like that's a really good point you just said, Austin, that they were just pilots, so that's all they probably knew, and that's probably just what people have been saying, and as it's just been going around, rumor of how he came back. So it's like, yeah, they're not going to have an explanation, they're going to have a scientific explanation of how exactly Palpatine came back, and if they did, that would be even kind of more weird, like, oh, how does this guy know this? So yeah, it's a really excellent point.
And I mean, you just got me thinking too, like originally in Star Wars the Force was like that, like it was never really explained. There's the one conversation that Obi-Wan has with Luke on Tatooine in Obi-Wan's house, where he's like, it's something that moves through all of us, or whatever he says about the Force. But for 25 years, the Force was something mysterious, and Star Wars fans were okay with that. Like a lot of stuff. That's what adds to the beauty of the Star Wars universe for me, and to Dune, like we were talking about Dune. There's so many cool, like, mystic things that aren't over-explained in those worlds and those universes. And that's what like makes it cool. So, yes, I was upset that the somehow Palpatine returned was executed that way, but also it's like we don't need to know everything. And if you need everything spelled out to you, that kind of sucks too. So
yeah, and I think also just one last thing with that, it's funny because people were pissed of the prequels explaining the Force. They said, "Oh, the Force shouldn't be explained like this," and they were so mad. And it's like, it's kind of just the same exact thing. Like, well, now we're explaining it, and now you're upset that we're trying to explain something. So yeah, it's just so silly.
Yeah,
it's kind of random about what you guys are talking about there. Of the fans were upset. I just saw like a TikTok slideshow, and I think I sent it to you guys. But it's everyone hated Hayden Christensen when he was in it, and then it's like a Star Wars convention. And like everyone is screaming and they love him, and he's like Hayden Christensen like cries, and the caption says like the adults that hated him are not as loud as the children that love him now, or something like that. It's something along the lines of the kids who grew up loving him are now louder than the adults that hated him back then, and I think that's beautiful.
We have our voice now.
Killer. Yep.
Which we may even get this with the sequels, honestly. I think there are probably children that grew up on them that love them because that was brand new to them. It was their kind of going to the movie theaters to see Star Wars, seeing all that. So I think we'll probably see a push of people loving the sequels. Granted, I don't think the storyline is as cool as the prequels that we got to see, but I think we'll probably see a little bit of that in the future as well. So. Any other questions for us, Forey? You're the guest, or anything you want to plug? What do you want to do? This is your time to shine, buddy.
Oh, plug! Shoot, I hadn't thought of that.
Plug what you need to plug, brother. You selling something? Sell it.
No, I got nothing. I'm kind of a bum these days. If anyone wants, whatever.
I can't say if anyone wants to hire me.
I was, dude. I totally was. I totally was, dude.
Hey,
Oh,
fans,
that's
please
terrible.
hire a buddy for us. He's got something lined up, but maybe if you have something better, he'll take it. All right, a little housekeeping, just last thing for our fans. We're gonna start kind of on our channel. We're gonna start doing kind of a split thing. We're gonna be highlighting some characters and giving the history of the characters, the background, maybe even starting some what if things, because that seems to be highly accepted. I don't know the word I'm trying to say. People like them. That's what I'm trying to say. So be on the lookout of that. You may see some new videos popping up on our YouTube channel that aren't just the podcast, which honestly I think people will like more because they're going to be a lot shorter. But to our fans we've gotten 40, 50 more subscribers in the last week. So thank you guys for subscribing.
Yeah.
It means a lot. It's awesome for us. So
And to all
Yeah,
the
and if
current
you're-
subscribers, go ahead, Austin.
no, let's hear it. I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
Let's hear it for it.
So all the current subscribers, go ahead and be a missionary this week and share your favorite pod with 2 to 3 people, huh? Let's get these
Wow.
numbers up. Let's get these
That's
boys
awesome.
so that they can do this full time and give you guys the content you deserve and love.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
If-
That's sweet.
Thank you, Forrest. If you are new here, don't let this episode be an indicator of what all of our episodes are like. We've really enjoyed having Forrest on, and we hope to have him on more often, but this technology limitation is not our brand, okay? So if you want more of Forrest, drop it down in the comments below. We'll have him on as often as you want.
It's true.
But yeah,
We'll have to fly him up though, because we can't do this again.
I mean, you guys are saying it's been terrible. I don't know. I guess I hadn't. I don't know. I guess. I guess I didn't think it was that bad.
it's not. It's been great. It's been fantastic.
It's just been bad because we're so Austin and I are used to just going right after, but the delay, it's not much, but it's enough that it really just throw off kind of the chemistry for the pod.
But hey, maybe we'll do a special edition in a couple weeks here. We'll come down to Cedar City and do a little recording. We'll have to see. You know,
And some big news as well. We're working with our buddy Austin here. We're gonna try to get him as our 4th man in golf and scramble tournaments, and we're gonna start winning money there, dude. We're just gonna be up in our freaking money, dude.
How'd your practice go on Saturday? I guess we could talk about this off the pod, but I'm sure the fans want to know.
It was
terrible.
the worst golf I played in
Really?
years. Yeah, honestly.
Really?
Actually, for me as well.
Yeah, it was not good.
Was it the course, or you guys just suck now, or what?
Of course, it was hard.
I suck, and the course was hard.
Dang.
Well, it was also freezing.
Yeah, so windy and miserable. Anyway, that's conversation for another day.
Okay.
But I think Forrest, you want to sign him off? Do you know our sign off? You can give him the sign off for us. Do you know what we say?
Yeah, I got to sign up.
All right, perfect.
And may the force be with you.
That's
That's
right.
our sign off. That was really
And I
good.
say